Good morning, students.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Right, very good morning to everyone. Previously, we discussed about cell and types of cell and protoplasm theory, right? Cell theory and protoplasm. These two topics we have discussed in previous class, right? Let us continue cell wall. Now I am going to discuss about cell wall. What is cell wall? Where it is located? Then what is the components of cell wall? Then what is the structure of cell wall? Then what is its function that we are going to see one by one, right? So first of all, I'd like to mention about the cell wall. What is cell wall? Actually, cell wall is nothing but it is the outermost layer of a cell. And it is a protective layer of the cell, right? So that is a cell, right? It gives a rigidity and shape to the cell wall. So this is a nature of cell wall. Actually, cell wall, the title is hidden, right? The answer is hidden in the title. Now, this is a cell. A wall is the present just outer side of the cell is called cell wall. Actually, cell is protected by a layer that is called the cell wall. Right? Dear students, what is cell wall? What is cell wall? It is a protective layer.
Protective layer.
It is a protective layer. Protective layer of a cell. And it gives a protection. Simply I can say it is the outermost layer of a cell. Okay. Then cell is made up of simply cell is made up of cellulose. It is made up of cellulose, pectin, and hemicellulose. Cellulose, and it is made up of hemicellulose, and one more compound that is a pectin, and one more thing that is a suberin. Suberin. In addition, that QT. So simply, cell wall, it is composed of various components like cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, suberin, QT, and one more thing, that is a lignin, etc. So along with the water formation, right? So this is a simply I can say cell wall. In addition to that, some protein. The proteins are nothing but they are glycoproteins plus water. So these are all the components of a cell. Okay. Now, do you want to see the structure of cell wall, students? Would you like to see the structure of cell?
Yes, sir.
Have you seen anywhere?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you been discussed cell and structure of cell and types of cell? Okay, no problem at all. Let me draw the structure. Now this is a cell. If you take a cell is the basic unit of living organism, right? And it is made of a cell wall, which is the outermost layer. I am drawing. This is a cell wall. This is a cell wall that encloses cytoplasm, right? The black color indicates it is a cell wall. Okay, if you take a plant cell, you can see as it is. At the center, you find a very prominent structure that is a nucleus, right? It is called as simply nucleus. Okay. In addition to that, some cell organelles are present, right? They are called mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, etc. So these are all the cell organelles. I am drawing all the structure in order to know the fine structure of cell wall, right? Here vacuole is there, and the mitochondria and the Golgi apparatus, right? Here you can see Golgi apparatus and mitochondria. So all the cell organelles which are present. So let me draw the structure of plant cell. I have drawn the structure of plant cell, and let me point out the outermost layer of a cell. This is called a cell wall. Outermost layer is called a cell wall, and followed by these fluid substances, right? The fluid substance is called a cytoplasm. Cytoplasm. Very good. Okay. And at the center, you find red color indicates nucleus. So here I am going to take only the outermost layer of the cell. Is called cell wall. There is a wall which is made up of cellulose and the hemicellulose, pectin and lignin, lutein, or suberin. These various complex or associated or which are deposited on the wall. I mean the outermost layer or boundary line of the cell. That is called a cell wall. Okay. Now I am going to talk about this is a cell wall. Okay. So let me take this structure. So I'd like to enlarge this structure only. Dear students, do you understand what I mean? My dear students,
Sir.
are you
Yes,
able
sir.
to understand what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Here a cell wall. Cell wall is the outermost layer of the plant cell. Cell wall. It is the outermost layer of every cell, right? Okay. As I said, it is made up of several components like a cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, suberin, lutein, lignin. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the cell wall of various organisms. Okay. So first of all, let me take cell wall is present. Almost all the organism except in animal, right? In animal, cell wall is absent. In animal, cell wall
Is absent, cell membrane.
simply I can say cell wall is absent. Where? In animal. That is the thing, right? Please understand. Which of the following organisms cell wall is absent, right? If it is as you got right, animal. Well, there is no presence of cell wall. So totally cell wall is absent. Okay. But next we must do cell wall of fungi. If you take a fungi, I'm talking about cell wall. Yes, student, I'm talking about the cell wall of various organisms. Right? Here I said cell wall is totally absent in case of animal, whereas in case of fungi, it is made up of fungi is a lower forms of plant kingdom, right? So in fungi, cell wall is made up of chitin. Actually, in fungi, cell wall is there. Cell wall is found in fungi, but which is made up of chitin and fungal cellulose. Fungal cellulose. Cellulose is there in case of fungi, but it is a type of cell that is a fungal cellulose. In addition to that, it is made up of chitin. So cell wall of fungi is made up of that. That is a question. Yes, student, please understand here. You can expect a question in your examination point of view. Cell wall of fungi is made up of this. Can you answer, please? Could you answer? Cell
Chitin.
wall of fungi is made up of
Chitin.
chitin. Very good. Very good. Keep it up. Chitin. What is chitin? Actually, chitin is a parasaccharic compound, right? It is a depositor in the cell wall of fungi. In addition, that fungal cellulose is also depositor in the cell wall of fungi. Okay. Okay, talking about some bacteria. In bacteria, cell wall is there in bacteria. I'm talking about bacteria. In bacteria, cell wall is made of peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan. Right? So the cell wall of bacteria is made up of that. That is the question. Please understand. Cell wall of bacteria is made up of that. What's the option? Cell wall of bacteria. I repeat, cell wall of bacteria is made up of
Peptidoglycan.
Peptidoglycan is a cell wall. It is associated in cell wall, which is found in this organism. That is the question.
Bacteria.
Asked both in NEET as well as in board. Definitely you can expect. The cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan, which is found in this organism. That is the question. If it is asked, what's the option?
Bacteria.
Bacteria. Very good. Chitin is found in cell wall of this organism.
Fungi.
Fungi. In fungi. Okay. Right. If you take algae, the cell wall of algae, it is also made up of cellulose and hemicellulose, right? In addition to that, you can find silica. Cell wall of algae is made up of cellulose and hemicellulose. Right? In addition to that, sometimes some members of algae, it is also made up of silica. Silica, right? If you take a diagrams in which you can see silica, the cell wall of algae is made up of cellulose, hemicellulose, and silica. Right? Okay. When we talk about higher plants of cell, what are the plants are seen just around us? If you see on both sides, you can see all the trees, all the plants. They have a well-defined cell wall. So I'm talking about the cell wall of higher plants. So far, we have discussed the cell wall of lower forms, such as fungi, bacteria, and algae, right? And it's time to discuss cell wall of higher plants. Simply, it is made of cellulose. Simply, it is a type of microfibrils are also associated. I'm talking about the cell wall of higher plants are made up of absolutely, I can say, cellulose, particularly I can say microfibrils, fibrils, right? Cellulose, it's a fibrous like structure. It's a fibrous like growth, right? Which is a long, very long, thin, which is very elastic in nature, and the fiber-like structure, they are associated in the cell wall of higher plants. So simply you can say the cell wall is made up of cellulose, right? Cell wall of plants or made up of cellulose. Okay, then what is the role of cell wall in plants? So cell wall always it gives shapes. It provides a shape of the cell, and also it also determines rigidity of the cell. Rigidity. So it also provides in determination of shape and rigidity of the cell. So that is the role of the cell wall. I repeat it again. Cell wall, it is not only functioning as outermost layer, but also gives a shape and rigidity of the cell, right? So that is the main, that is the key role of cell wall, right? Okay, dear students, hoping that you could understand what I mean. What is the main role of cell wall? Could you tell me what is the main role of cell wall?
It's a protect. It protects.
It's a protective layer, and
It protects the layer from another cell.
it also gives a shape of the cell. The shape of cell is determined by the presence of cell wall. And one more that I have given in green color. It also rigidity. It also determines the rigidity of the cell. That is the main goal, right? Please repeat.
Shape, rigidity.
Very good. It's under rigidity of the cell. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the structure of cell wall. Right? As I said, cell wall
Structure.
Yes, student. Cell wall is, if you take a fine structure of cell wall, you can find there are mainly three parts. The one is a primary cell wall, and the another one is a secondary cell wall, and third one is a middle lamella. If you take a plant cell which is differentiated into three layers, the first layer is primary cell wall. Primary cell wall. The second one is secondary cell wall. Secondary cell wall. And third one is middle lamella. Middle lamella. So there are mainly three components of a cell wall. Dear students, what are the three layers of cell wall?
Primary cell wall, secondary cell wall, lamellae.
Totally, how many layers are there?
Three.
Three layers. Now, do you understand the layers of cell wall? Three, right?
Yes, sir.
Very good, ma'am. Okay, now I'm going to talk about primary cell wall. Before that, I should draw the structure of plant cell wall, right? As I said, dear students, let me draw the structure of. Now, this is a structure of a cell. Right? If you take this is a plant cell and it is made of, as I said, it is a as I said, there are different layers are associated in primary and secondary. This is a primary cell wall, right? I'm talking about this black color indicates primary cell wall. What is the primary cell wall? It is the outermost layer of a cell wall. I'm talking about the blue color indicates it is a primary cell wall. It is a primary cell wall. Okay. Talking about primary cell wall, it is made up of hemicellulose. It is made up of hemicellulose, right? And pectin is there. It is also made up of hemicellulose and pectin. Second layer is a pectin. And third one is a glycoprotein. Glycoprotein. Right? So primary cell wall, it is the outermost layer of the cell, and generally it is thin in nature. It is very thin. It is very thin and elastic in nature. Elastic. It is very thin and elastic. That means expandable in nature. Right? That's the nature of primary wall. Primary cell wall. So as I said, the cell wall is differentiated into primary and secondary. Talking about the primary cell wall, it is differentiated into hemicellulose, pectin, and glycoprotein. Simply, it is made up of various components. Hemicellulose, which is behind the primary cell wall, and pectin, it is also associated with the hemicellulose, and glycoprotein, it is also associated with the pectin, and it is generally thin in nature and elastic in nature. Right? And this primary cell wall is found in some organism. Right? I want to mention some cells. I'd like to mention some cells. They are parenchyma cell. They are parenchyma cell. And if you take a meristematic cell, in which you find primary cell wall, right? Dear students, could you mention the components of primary cell wall? What are the things are present in primary cell wall?
Hemicellulose, pectin, glycoprotein.
Glycoprotein.
And what is the nature of primary cell wall?
Thin and elastic.
Elastic in nature. It is very thin and elastic. Very good, very good. Good, keep it up. Talking about primary cell wall, as I said, it is the outermost layer of the cell wall of a plant. Okay, it is made up of hemicellulose, pectin, and glycoprotein. What is the role of a hemicellulose? Actually, it is a hemicellulose which provides microfibrils, right? This is a hemicellulose that is responsible for the formation of, simply you can say, microfibrils. MF is nothing but microfibrils. It's a fibrous-like structure that is provided by hemicellulose. Then what is the role of the pectin? Actually, pectin serves as a filling material. Pectin, which serves as a filling material. Which serves as a filling material of matrix of the cell. Okay, talking about the glycoprotein, actually glycoprotein which controls simply, right? The glycoprotein that also controls the orientation of microfibrils. Orientation of microfibrils. Microfibrils. So that is the nature of a glycoprotein. Dear students, now could you tell me what is the role of pectin? Could you tell me? Pectin is serves as a filling
Material.
Then what is the role of glycoprotein? Glycoprotein
Control the orientation
Control the
of
microfibrils.
orientation of microfibrils. Then could you mention the cells in which primary cell wall is only present?
parenchyma,
Meristematic.
Very good, ma'am. Now, did you understand about the primary cell?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, we go for next secondary cell wall. Shall we go for next secondary cell wall?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, talking about the secondary cell wall, it is made up of different layers. This is a primary cell wall, right? Please understand it's a primary cell wall. Okay. Next we pass on to secondary cell wall. As I said, the secondary cell wall is differentiated into following layer, right? This is a secondary cell wall is differentiated into 3 zones. They are S1 and S2 and S3. The first red color indicates S1. I'm talking about it is a secondary cell wall. I'm talking about it is a secondary cell wall. It is made up of 3 layers. I'm talking about secondary cell wall, which is differentiated into 3 layers. The first one is a S1 layer. The S1 is very closer to the primary wall. If you take a primary wall, the primary wall and the secondary wall, particularly you can say S1, secondary wall 1 is closely associated, right? They are closely binding with each other. Okay. And followed by S2 layer. The green color indicate S2, I mean secondary layer or secondary wall 2. As I said, secondary wall is differentiated into 3 zones, S1 and S2 and S3. The S2 layer, S2 zone is right just behind the S1 layer. This is a S2 layer. I'm talking about the secondary layer 2. The secondary wall is differentiated into outer side S1 and the middle side S2, which is closely associated with the S1 layer, right? It is found just next to S1 layer. Okay. The third one is the yellow color. This yellow color indicates, this is a yellow color which indicates S3 layer. So this S3 which is very closer to cell membrane. That is the question. Please understand, dear student. Please understand, S3. S3 is indicated by yellow in color. This is a S3 layer, which is very closer to lumen. This is a center part is a lumen or cell lumen, in which you can see cytoplasm. It is a cell lumen. The cell lumen is nothing but it is a matrix or the cell cavity which is filled with cytoplasm and cell organelles such as nucleus, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum. So, what are the cell organelles which are scattered in the lumen, which are protected by this S3 layer? Actually, S3, which is very close to the cell lumen or cell membrane. Very next to you find cell membrane. So this is a region where you find a cell membrane. Actually, this is a cell membrane. It is the outermost layer of the cytoplasm. This red color indicates, right? Yes, students, red color indicates cell membrane. Okay, I'm talking about just I have taken a secondary layer, right? This is S1, S2, S3, or simply you can say the secondary wall of a cell, right? Secondary wall. Secondary wall is differentiated into S1, S2, S3. Okay, talking about what are the components of S1 and S2, right? Okay, as I said, S1 or the primary cell wall is made up of hemicellulose, glycoprotein, etc. Whereas in secondary cell wall, it is made of, right, on one side is cellulose, on one side is cellulose, on the other side we find, right, lignin. So both the cellulose and the lignin, which are closely associated, they are mixed together in secondary cell wall. Then what is the role of this secondary wall? Actually, this secondary wall which gives a protection to the cell lumen or to the cytoplasm or just inner to the cell organelle which are protected by secondary wall. And not only that, it also involves a determination of cell shape and the rigidity of the cell. So that is the main role of a secondary cell wall, right? So simply, what are the components of secondary cell wall? Cellulose and the lignin. Whereas what are the components of primary cell wall? Hemicellulose, pectin, glycoprotein, right? Okay, then what is the nature of a secondary cell wall? Actually, secondary cell wall which is very thick in nature. I'm talking about secondary cell wall. SW, secondary cell wall which is very thick in nature as compared with the primary cell wall. It is very thick and it is inelastic in nature. It is inelastic in nature. It cannot be expandable, right? So it is inelastic in nature, and the secondary wall is compactly arranged. The secondary wall is compactly arranged. The arrangement is a compact arrangement. Whereas if you take a primary wall, it is a loosely arrangement. Primary wall is arranged very loosely, whereas a secondary wall is arranged compactly. So that is a major difference between primary cell wall and the secondary cell wall, right? Dear student, how are they arranged it? Both primary and secondary wall. I repeat once again, primary wall is loosely arrangement, whereas a secondary wall is a compactly arrangement, right? So these are S1, S2, S3, which are compactly arranged in secondary wall, whereas in primary wall, it is arranged with a very loose image. So that is a difference. Now, could you tell me, talking about the arrangement of cell wall, primary and secondary, what is the nature of secondary cell wall? How it is arranged?
Compactly arranged.
Arranged, thick and inelastic.
Thick inelastic.
It is differentiated as it is differentiated to S1, S2, S3, which are tightly arranged, compactly without any gap. Whereas primary cell wall is arranged with the loose arrangement, right?
Loosely arranged.
Okay, very good. So which of the following cell wall is very closer to cell lumen?
S3.
Secondary wall.
S3. Okay, talking about a primary wall and a secondary wall. Which of the following cell wall is very closer to lumen?
Secondary wall.
Secondary wall.
Secondary wall.
Very good. Fantastic. Which of the following cell wall is the outermost layer of the plant cell?
Cell
wall.
Primary
Primary.
Primary.
Primary wall.
Okay. So as I said, cell wall is differentiated into primary cell wall and the secondary cell wall, and one more layer. One more layer.
Middle lamellate.
Very good, ma. Middle lamella. It is nothing but it is the outermost layer of primary cell wall. Dear student, please understand. Talking about the cell wall, primary cell wall is the outermost layer. Whereas talking about the components of cell wall, the middle lamella, it is the outermost layer. It lies just outer to primary wall. So let me represent black in color. Let me represent black in color. Now this is called a middle lamella. Dear students, please understand, no more to get confused. The black color represents middle lamella. Then what is middle lamella? Middle lamella is a thin layer. It is an amorphous condition, and it is having pits, and it also joins together, or two adjacent cells are joined together. That is a role of middle lamella. Okay. So if you take another cell that you can say, I'd like to represent now. If you take this is another cell wall, right? You can understand if you take another cell in which you find right? This is a another cell. You find the cell lumen is a and cell wall is a differentiated into following as it is. You can understand, right? Now, would you like to see the structure of plant cell? Would you like to see the structure, Mark? Once again, do you want to see the structure of?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just I have taken and just please wait. I'll show you. Now, if you take a plant cell, sure you can understand. This structure is a differentiated into the outermost layer is a middle lamella. Okay, and one more structure I want to show you. If you take a secondary wall, or in order to find out middle lamella, I'd like to just enlarge. Okay, I have taken these portions. Dear student, please understand. I have taken. I have taken these portions. I have enlarged only this sector. So, if we take a portion of a cell wall, it is differentiated into the first layer is a primary cell wall, which is represented by green in color, light green in color. Then followed by secondary wall. Secondary wall is differentiated into as it is S1, S1 and S2 and S3, and very next to right. S1, S2, you can find this is a region where lumen, cell lumen or cell cavity, which is filled with the cell organelle and a cytoplasm. Okay, here let me take a middle lamella. Actually, this middle lamella is a thin amorphous condition layer that lies in between two adjacent cells. So this is a middle lamella, dear students. This is a middle lamella which lies in between two adjacent cells. Okay, these two adjacent cells are joined together, right, by the very thin layer that is called a middle lamella. Okay, this middle lamella, or sometimes say it is having a minute pore that is called a plasmodesmata. I want to represent in black in color. This is a plasmodesmata. Actually, this plasmodesmata is a minute pore that connects two adjacent cells through which interchanging or exchanging of some cell material from one place to another place, from one cell to another cell. So that is the role of plasmodesmata. Now, do you understand what I mean? Yes, students? Are you able to understand? Did you understand what I mentioned?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to mention in black color. Now, this is a plasmodesmata, black color dots. Actually, this plasmodesmata is a minute pore or a small channel. It creates a small channel. The plasma or middle lamella, which creates a small channel that creates minute pore through which interchanging and exchanging of material from one place to another place. Such a pore is called a pits. So this plasmodesmata, I'm talking about the plasmodesmata. Please understand, dear students, please understand. It is very interesting area. Here there are a lot of questions are there. You can expect so many questions in the content. So far we have discussed the primary cell wall and the secondary cell wall, right? And this is an area to be concentrated more. So please understand. So plasmodesmata, plasmodesmata. Actually, this plasmodesmata, it consists of simply it creates a channel. It creates a channel, right? In between two adjacent cells, adjacent. two adjacent cells, right? Now this is a plant cell, right? And if you take a one cell and if you take another cell, cell number 1 and cell number 2, which are associated by means of plasmodisplasma. This is a minute pore. I'm talking about this is a plasmodisplasma. The minute pore is nothing but it is a pores. These pores are located by means of two. There are two types of pits, or pits are pore. I'm talking about pits or pores. There are two types of pits. The one is a simple pit. One is simple pit, and another one is a border pit. Border pit. Border pits. There are two types of pits: simple pits and border pits, along with the pit membrane. Along with, you can say, the pits are associated with the simple pit and the border pit, along with the find pit membrane. Pit membrane. Actually, what are pit? Small minute pore. Small minute pores, which are located in the secondary cell, the primary cell wall, right? These pores are created by a middle lamella that is essential for transporting of materials, cell material, cellular material, or cellular matrix from one cell to another cell, right? This is a pit membrane and pit chamber. It is also associated with the pit chamber. Pit chamber. Pit chambers are also present. So that is the nature of a plasmodisplasma. Okay. Next we pass on to what is the function of plant cell wall. What are the functions of cell wall, right? Here you find it. I'm talking about so far we have discussed cell wall. What is cell wall? What are the types of cell wall that we have discussed? Now I am going to introduce the functions of cell wall. Functions of cell wall. The first function is it offers shape and rigidity. Rigidity of the cell. Simply I can say it provides shape and rigidity of the cell. Simply it determines shape and rigidity of the cell. Simply I can say the plant cell wall that offers shape to the cell and rigidity to the cell wall. Okay. Second point, it also provides a barrier for several molecules in order to enter inside of the cell. So it is to act as a barrier. It is to act as a barrier for several molecules in order to enter, simply in order to enter inside. So the cell wall which acts as a barrier for several molecules like ions, micronutrients or macronutrients or proteins, antibiotic or any other food material or any other ions in order to get the inside of the cell if it is needed. If a cell depends any other ions for metabolic activity, so these ions which can be transported through a cell wall, hence the cell wall acts as a barrier for several molecules in order to get the inside. Okay. The third point is it also provides a protection. It also provides a protection. It also provides a protection to the cell against the mechanical injury. Against mechanical injury. Mechanical injury. So that is one of the functions. Dear student, we are discussing about functions. There are several functions, but we have a few functions as a syllabus, right? The first, second, the third point is it also provides protection to the cell and against mechanical injury. If mechanical injuries happen, so this injury it is going to be prevented by the production of secondary cell wall. Okay. Then fourth one, it also controls the bursting of cell. So hence it prevents the bursting of cell. When continuously, dear student, when continuously the ions or food materials are entered inside of the cell, what will happen? The pressure naturally increased. So it is possible to burst off cell wall. So automatically it's going to burst off. So such a bursting is prevented. So it also prevents. It also prevents bursting of cell wall. Bursting of cell wall by simply I can say balancing of osmotic pressure. Balancing of osmotic pressure. Here, osmotic pressure is a pressure which maintains stability of the cells. Actually, the balancing of pressure is maintained by osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure. If any molecule is entered into plant cell through a cell wall, it is possible to increase its pressure. Such a pressure is called as osmotic pressure. This osmotic pressure is maintained in order to prevent bursting of cell wall. So here, which of the following pressure is maintained for a bursting of prevention of bursting of cell wall? Dear student, which of the following pressure is maintained prevention of bursting of cell wall? Could you mention?
Osmotic pressure.
Osmotic.
Osmotic pressure.
Right. So, osmotic pressure. What is the role of osmotic pressure? Please tell us. Tell me.
Even
To prevent the bursting of cell wall.
If pressure is created continuously, if pressure is created automatically, when the molecules are transported from one cell to another cell continuously, it is possible to burst. So such a bursting is prevented by osmotic pressure. So if any ions are entered naturally from outside to inside of the plant cell, automatically pressure is created. Such a pressure is prevented by creation of osmotic pressure. That's why I mentioned osmotic pressure, which balances bursting of plants. Simply it prevents bursting of cell. Okay, the next one, it also serves as a defense mechanism. It also serves as a defense. Defense mechanism. It also serves as a defense. Defense means protection to the cell, right? So thank you for joining, my dear students. So far we have discussed what is cell wall and what is the structure of cell wall and what are the
function
cell wall and
cell wall.
function of cell wall. If there is any doubt, please ask. Students, do you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Shall I ask some question?
Yes, sir.
Now, could you tell me which is outermost layer of the cell? Yes, students, which is outermost layer of a cell? Simple question that I asked you. Students, are you audible?
Yes, sir. Middle lamella. Middle lamellae.
Middle lamella.
Lamella. Okay, very good. Which is the protective layer of the cell?
Cell wall. Cell wall.
Wall.
Very good.
Cell wall.
Could you mention the types of cell wall?
Primary cell wall. Primary cell wall. Secondary cell wall. And middle lamella.
Middle lamella.
And could you mention the components present in bacterial cell wall?
Peptidoglycan.
Peptidoglycan.
Glycan. And what is a cellular cell wall components of fungi?
Chitin.
Chitin and fungal cellulose.
Very good, very good, very good. And what are the 3 layers of cell wall?
Primary cell wall.
Secondary cell wall and
Lamellae.
Very good, ma'am. Very good. And could you mention the types of secondary cell wall?
S1,
S1,
S2, S3.
S2. Very good. Components of secondary cell wall.
Cellulose and lipid.
Very good, ma'am. Cellulose and lignin.
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 Now, what do you understand about arrangement of secondary cell wall?
Compactly
Arranged.
Then, what do you mean by inelastic condition?
Not expand.
Not expand, not flexible.
Expansion. Flexible.
They're talking about primary cell wall. Which of the following cell has only primary cell wall?
Parenchyma.
Parenchyma.
Meristematic.
Really good. Really good. Okay, talking about functions of cell. Any function?
Offers shape and rigidity varies for several molecules
Offers
entering
shape protection of cell.
Prevents the bursting of cell.
by osmotic pressure, defense.
It also provides
Protection of
the
cell.
defense mechanism. Defense mechanism, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
for joining.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to give you a home assignment. Please note down. Take down. And try to prepare thoroughly on the question. Before that, try to go through what's given and what was taught by the teacher every day for all subjects, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Take any paper, what is going to be taught every day. Try to go through what's given in your textbook. Then try to prepare the content, the examination point of view, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining, dear student. If there is any question, please ask. Thank you.